I am here with Chris Cook, a drummer out of the Memphis area, who was a member of power metal band Medieval Steel in the mid 80s to 90s to 2000s even. He has been involved with many other band projects over the years, and most recently with a friend of the Dr. Music podcast here, Zach Bair, and the Zach Bair Band. So that's exciting. We always love having Zach on. He's a great guy. And Chris Cook, thank you so much.
That's a pleasure.
Yeah. Well, let me start from the beginning. How did you grow up? Did you grow up in a musical household, formal lessons, all that?
No, actually, there's nobody else in the family that did that, but it was just one of these things that I picked up very early on. My mother will tell you, when I was 10 months old, I was banging around on pots and pans with wooden spoons and sticks of uncooked spaghetti. So started doing that at a very early age, and they kind of looked at each other and said, maybe we should get him into some music lessons. So the first thing I did was picked up guitar when I was about 4 years old. Took a few lessons there, and the guitar teacher said, look, he's picking this up real quick. You probably should get him in piano or something so he can learn to read music. So I switched to piano and did that for 6 months or so and learned to read music with that. And I'm certainly not fluent in the sense that, the classical musicians can be, but it's not totally Greek to me.
Right.
But then through the years, through my teenage years and everything, I just kind of, anything I'd pick up, I'd start playing. And the thing that really kind of stuck from a musician standpoint, from being in bands, was drums first. And so that kind of got me in with the Medieval Steel crew. And that was a fun experience and a really good thing to do. And it taught me a lot about the industry, and it taught me a lot about songwriting and people and music in general. And festivals and shows and just the business, in the industry. But, and I did a lot of the songwriting with Steel. But I just kind of realized that I had a whole lot more to say. So I broke away from that and doing my own thing, the Voodoo Messiah thing. And that's gone really, really well. So.
Excellent. Yeah. And I know you do, the shows and the music with Zach Bair. You've got other projects.
Yes.
With Messiah there, and you got Sherry Pie, a fun hair metal kind of tribute thing.
Yeah.
What other, you got anything else? You're a busy man.
Yeah, no, I mean that's I started singing and fronting bands probably about 5 years ago. I always did the backups in Medieval Steel. And so I just kind of, like I said, I've done a lot of different things. I play a lot of different instruments, and I just kind of wanted a new challenge. I'd never fronted a band before. So I started doing that with a local cover band, and it was really doing kind of dance stuff. And I'm just a fan of music. So I love all that stuff, the Bruno Mars and Prince and Michael Jackson. And I love doing that. And I had just an absolute blast,
cool.
Singing and fronting and that sort of thing. But I'm a rocker at heart. And so when an opportunity came along to really kind of do my stuff and my type of music, I grew up in that era with Motley Crue and Def Leppard and Bon Jovi and that kind of stuff. So when that opportunity came along to do that, I jumped at it. And so that's what I've been doing, and really kind of, I guess, kind of worked out my pipes and all of that kind of stuff and got them ready to start doing this stuff and the original stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah. Now, you like fronting the band better than behind the kit. That's a big difference,
It is a big difference. It really is. I do like it. I like it a lot. Being an artist typically means you have something to say, and I have something to say. And so when I'm out front, I can do that I don't mean, some political statement in between songs. I just mean in the middle of the songs and in the performance of in the execution of it all. That really gives me a bigger forum and a bigger platform to be able to do that. Whereas behind the drums, I'm sort of supporting cast in a sense. I certainly don't mean that as a slam against drummers, because my influences growing up were, the guys that still stick out to this day, John Bonham and Neil Peart and those guys, who definitely made their marks just behind the drum kit, and had as much to say behind the drum kit as I think probably anybody else in the bands that they played in. But
right.
In the band and Medieval Steel and that sort of thing, it was just more straight ahead, straightforward, what they call epic metal, which was really kind of keeping things simple, and didn't really offer a big platform for me to kind of stretch out and play and do what I wanted to do. So
right. Yeah. Medieval Steel. I investigate this band and do my research on this band, and I was really into that power metal kind of just big in Chicago. We played there. Yeah, I mean, it's a huge, still a pretty big market in the underground metal scene. You look at some videos, and I would urge people to go take a look at some Medieval Steel stuff. There is a huge follow. I mean, singer doesn't need to speak a word. The crowd takes over. It is an army of loyal fans for that band. It was shocking, to see that kind of following and people that passionate about that music. Do you miss that? What is happening with Medieval Steel? I don't see an end. When I looked at it, I didn't see an end to that band. Is it still a thing? Are you gonna record maybe in the future with them?
Yeah. So Medieval Steel is still recording. In fact, when I left the band, we were in the process of doing pre-production and recording for a next album, and had already finished one that has not yet been released. So that band is still active and still doing all of that. Do I miss it? I miss the people, and certainly miss getting out in front of the fans and all of that sort of thing. But I'm hoping to be able to do a lot of that, even now in the new project. So
yeah, and tell me about the new project.
So it was, like I said, I had done some of the writing in Medieval Steel anyway, but this was really an opportunity for me to just kind of branch out and say that, I had some more kind of stuff to say musically as well as lyrically and all of that. So I had been in the studio working with and collaborating with another guy that actually played in Medieval Steel with me for a while and had done some of his own music. And in the process of doing that, and in the process of really taking on a lot more of the songwriting with Medieval Steel, I just kind of kept coming across riffs and coming across ideas that really didn't fit Medieval Steel, and it really didn't fit what this guy was doing either. And so I just said, you know what, let me just, put it down myself and record it. And so I played everything. I played the drums and guitar and bass and keyboards and sang everything.
Wow.
Just to kind of, to see how it would go and get the ideas down. And then you're like, holy shit, this sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
So we mixed it and released it, and the response has been fantastic. So, if you're a songwriter, it's kind of, if you're a writer, just books, and the authors will tell you that they have books in their head and they got to get it down. They got to write it, because otherwise it drives them crazy. And it's the same thing that goes with a songwriter. It may not be words, it may be music, but I'll get up in the morning at 3:30 a.m. with an entire song in my head. And if I don't do something with it, it will drive me fucking crazy. So, I'll call the studio and I'll say, hey man, I got to get in there. When's the next opportunity? When's the next available date? And I'll come in and I'll just start putting stuff down. And so that's really kind of the impetus behind all of it. And then I just had a blast with it. I just absolutely loved it. I loved being able to express what I wanted to express without having someone come in and saying, let me change this lyric, or let me change that. Let me put my own spin on the guitar. Let me put my own spin on the bass. Right. I heard what I heard, and I wanted to be able to get that down on tape. And so this is, it's been fantastic to do that.
That's cool. And yeah, that's truly yours.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've called it Voodoo Messiah.
Called it Voodoo Messiah. The intention is to have a band, but in the meantime, like I said, it started off with just an idea, and so I would had the ability to play everything, so I did. Now, I'll bring in guys. I'm very, very, fortunate to know some really fantastic musicians, and what I tend to hear in my head on the lead guitar is beyond my capabilities to do. So I'll put down the rhythms and all that stuff, bass keys and all that, and then I'll bring in my friends to just actually do the actual lead guitar work on the songs. So I'm real fortunate to be able to have those guys come in. But yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, well, you're in Music City, really, right there.
Yeah.
It's a great place to be for the musician, for sure. I noticed too, I'm looking at Medieval Steel and the history of that band, and John Roth of Winger and Starship came through there. Just an amazing player. With Giant now, Zoltan Chaney, who's done well behind his kit. Is just you've surrounded yourself with really good musicians, and Zach is besides being an amazing entrepreneur and all of his adventure there, is a great musician, and he's writing great music. So it's really great to see you surrounding yourself with these kinds of talent.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm lucky to be able to do it.
And you've done with Medieval Steel, I know, like you said, festivals and that whole scene, Europe, Latin America, right? Correct. I notice in Latin America, especially.
Yep, absolutely. It's most of the stuff. I'm sorry, say it again.
Yeah, I lost you a little bit there. In that area, is really big for that kind of music, hard rock, metal, power metal, all of those genres. Why do you think that is? The reception here, you have a small, distinct group of fans for that, but in Latin America, it's everywhere. What was your take on that?
One of the things that I've found is the States tend to be very trendy, and so something is in one week and it's out the next.
Right.
And when it's out, it's out. I mean, it's almost like, it's uncool to continue to like something beyond, a year and a half. Because if you do, then you're old school and it's not cool to do that. And that's the element that I think is that you don't have that in other areas, Europe or in South America. They like something and they like it for life. And there's not this other pressure to say that, that's so 2020, and the States just really has that element to it, and it kind of stinks, but
yeah, it really does. I see that so much, and I see, like I say, I see these videos of not only Medieval Steel and that kind of thing, but anywhere, any kind in that area, they're just passionate. I mean, it's just, behold the music, it's lifted up,
yeah,
it's really, really,
it is fantastic.
It really is.
Yeah.
How did you come to know Zach? Zach is he's the man. He's done so much in his career. How do you know Zach, and how did you get involved with playing with him?
Zach is as a club owner, as well as do the thing with venue and all of that, and so he's got he's got two clubs here in Memphis now, but he had at the time was just opening his first one, and we did a couple of shows there. We, being Medieval Steel, did a couple of shows with him. Okay. There, opening for Lynch Mob and opening for Metal Church, and doing some shows with him in one of his clubs, and he and I met that way, and as Zach would do some of his own material and want to get out and play himself, he asked me if I would come and play drums for him and be a part of that band. And of course, I like Zach. I'm happy to help out however I can. So
that's great. That's great. And was that at Rock House Live?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going really well for him, and I love seeing that.
Yeah, he's opened two or three, I think. I think three just in 2021 alone. I think he opened in some really great locations.
Yep.
So I'm happy for him. I think that's going fantastic. Actually, with Zach is we're supposed to be shooting a music video on Sunday. So
Awesome.
and it's supposed to be some like 20 degrees and it's outside. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Wow. Yeah, that's almost as cold as I got it here in Chicago. So
Yeah, really.
yeah, that'll be something. Yeah, I saw him open the Rock House Live in I think the Florida location, and I said, boy, I got to get out to see him.
It's funny. Yeah, we talked about doing some shows down there, and of course I'd love to do it. I've been all over the place, but Key West is not one I've been to, so that's on the bucket list. We have to go do a show there.
Absolutely, that would be great. Now he's you got plans to record with Zach? I know you're doing the video. He's got these singles, and he just released Fight. And that
Yes.
tribute to the COVID first responders, powerful song.
Yeah.
Ordinary Girl before that, also with a powerful message. We're getting these sporadic things. Are there plans to record
Correct.
more with Zach and possibly a full-length album?
I know that Zach is writing all the time. The songs "Ordinary Girl" and "Rutherford Drive," I think he wrote a while ago. "Fight" is relatively new. I think that when he wrote that one, when he did the recording on that, I was involved in other projects and wasn't able to be a part of it. And the one that we're shooting the video for as well, I was not a part of the recording of that one. But certainly, if he does more recording and more stuff, I think the plan is for me to go in and record the drum tracks for it. So
yeah, that would be great. Yeah.
Well, we've one of the things that I've noticed is that the world has kind of changed in the way that it consumes music. We've all kind of been, I think, maybe, talking about the old school guys are all kind of locked in that model of releasing albums or releasing CDs. And I think that the world has just kind of changed. The market and the consumers have changed, and they're not used to waiting for that. They're used to people releasing singles and then in a month releasing another single. And so there's, with whether or not there's a plan for him to do a full album, I'm not sure. Medieval Steel is doing it that way, where they're doing a whole album. Voodoo Messiah is not. We're really, I'm releasing songs just kind of every couple of months. There'll be a new one that'll come out. Eventually they'll all be compiled onto one CD, but until that happens, I'm not going to deny the fans the music. We're going to go ahead and get it out there and let them hear it, and let them learn to like it.
yeah, that's awesome, and that's great news for a fan. As a veteran guy, I'm used to that album thing.
Yeah.
And I'm also, I love the liner notes and all that. I'm
absolutely
that kid who sat down and read every last thing.
You and me both.
Yeah, we don't get that anymore. I kind of miss that. And so many bands that I talk to are releasing singles, and it's successful. Because it's
and one of the things that I've found, and I'm sorry I didn't mean to cut you off, but one of the things that I've found is what I will be doing is, I love the artwork and I love the liner notes and I loved all of that kind of stuff too. There's no reason and there's nothing that says that I can't release new artwork for every song. Every single that comes out with its own artwork and its own little liner notes and its own little stories about how it was recorded and who was involved and who I pissed off yesterday or whatever. So
yeah, that's just it. And I'm that was the biggest thing for me when we went to streaming and downloading and things like that. And who's playing drums? Nobody knows. Nobody cares. It's like that's
unfortunately that tends to be the truth.
That is not healthy. That really scared me. It honestly scared me that, I want to know who produced it. I want to know who mastered and mixed it. And not only, people don't even care about who's in the band, a lot of times. It's just, that's just not healthy. So
Well, no, you're right. And I want to know who played everything on it too. Hence, I'm singing and playing everything so everyone knows.
yeah.
But, it's also real important that you have a consistent sound. And I think that, one of the things that I see a lot of with the newer groups that release singles as opposed to full length records is everything sounds a little bit different.
Mhm.
And I'm not really into that. I have different ideas and want different instrumentation and different tones and different patches on the keyboards and that sort of thing. But I want it all to have a really consistent sound. So I work with the same engineer. We produce the stuff together. It works really, really well with me. So, we've got a lot of the same ideas, and he'll come up with shit and I'll be like, oh my God, that's brilliant. And I'll do the same for him. So, I think that element of consistency is something that's important to keep, even though we're releasing singles. It doesn't mean I got to go tomorrow to a different studio and sound completely different artist than I was, last month.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I think that is important. And people tend to hear things, like things. They want more of that. You want your favorite band to sound like your favorite band. And I think
Yeah.
that is important, so yeah, it's great that you do that. It really is. If you could play with any band in existence, who would it be? Because I know you're a fan of music, as am I. There's nothing I don't like, really. But I know you're a rocker at heart, like I am. If you could get a gig with any band, the capital gain aside, being, assuming the numbers are right.
Sure.
What band would you want to play with most?
I think it would depend on what I'm playing. So if I'm doing the drums, I think I would love to get up and do something with Jimmy Page and Robert Plant and John Paul Jones and that sort of thing. And Jason does a great job on the drums. He really does. But there's a feel in there that, in my opinion, I would like to add to that flavor a little bit. So, Bobby Plant, give me a call. Or Rush, which I kind of tend with both of those bands, but in particular Rush, because they really haven't done anything since Neil passed. But I really want to respect the fact that they're saying this was the band and this was us, and there's really, without any one of the three of us, there's really no point in getting up and playing anymore. And I really respect that. But I think that would be one of my choices as well. But I also tend to, because of those influences, enjoy things like Tool and Deftones and that kind of stuff as well, because it really just provides this huge foundation to be able to just really play and express yourself. So on the drums, I think it would be something like that. From singing, I think what I would want to do is probably pick up one of the bands that was around in the 80s or the 90s, and really kind of take what they did, if the singer's no longer around, Warrant, because of the Cherry Pie thing, or Skid Row, who the guy that they've got with them now is doing a phenomenal job, but Autograph, those kinds of people where the singer's no longer a part of the project, and really kind of pick that up where that left off, and see if we can't take it somewhere else. I'll tell you who I really love is White Lion, believe it or not. Killer songs. That guitar player Vito is a monster. Would love an opportunity to play with that guy.
One of the most underrated guitar players, I think, ever.
Oh my gosh. And I don't even know that he's playing anymore, but Lord have mercy, he's a freaking beast.
Yeah, he really is. Vito Bratta, of course. And I never hear his name. I just and I did an interview with Mike Tramps a year or two ago now. It fell off the map. Just incredible, though. Just what a player.
Yeah. Mike's great too. Mike's great. That was a great band. They were very melodic, wrote some great songs. It's a shame that it didn't go further than it did. I think the reason that it didn't wasn't due to them or their lack of songwriting or talent. I think it was just more a function of just that genre of music. Like I said, in the States, it's very fickle. And as it just started to die away, they were an unfortunate consequence of that.
Yeah, that's totally it. I would say so. There's a lot of them like that, that just, the times change, and the music changes, and it doesn't matter how great you are. It's not your time, which
That's
is
right.
really unfortunate. Um, and I'll let you go. I know we've been a while, and you're a busy guy.
Yeah.
You've been doing this a pretty long time. Your approach. How has your approach changed from when you first started doing this till now? In every way, in writing and playing music, as well as the industry business side of it.
That's a fantastic question. I think that, growing up and being a musician and a fan of music and an artist, I was really enamored with the art itself. Okay. And so that's what I focused on, was the music and the expression of it and that sort of thing. And so I really got into things that that maybe weren't as mainstream and weren't as easily digestible by people who weren't fans of music and didn't listen every day and study technique and study theory and all of that kind of thing, right? I really would get excited about how different people would approach different instruments and different just sounds to be able to create, the emotion that they're trying to create. So as I've grown, I've learned to realize that and accept that and to kind of embrace that, in the sense that, what I want my music to do is to reach everyone. And so, it's a pretty decent analogy that I use sometimes to some of my players that really are into technique. And I say, you go to Las Vegas to the mathematicians conference, mathematicians of the United States and college, whatever, right, and universities. And so you go to dinner with you're surrounded at a table by 4 or 5 other of the best top mathematicians on the planet. And the level of their conversation, you're not going to have a fucking clue what they're saying, because they're talking about things that are so far beyond what you really understand in terms of math. Now, it's great stuff. It's high level math. You just don't get it. You don't understand it. And I think the mistake that a lot of musicians make that are really good at what they do and really study it is they don't take that fact into account, that the average person isn't a high level mathematician. The average person isn't a high level musician. And so we don't really want to speak over their heads. If you really want to reach people, then you need to speak in a language that they understand, and you need to be playing the stuff that is easily digestible by them. And so that's really what more than anything else, my approach has become. I wouldn't say simpler, because technically it's not any easier to play necessarily. It's just it's important that I make sure that if I want to be heard by a mass of people, then I need to speak in a language and do it in such a way that they'll understand it and not be lost by it.
Yeah, that's totally it. You have things that are more, especially I'm gonna earmark progressive rock, with and especially progressive metal, a Dream Theater type of thing.
Love it.
I love it too. It's just, but I have a little more of an understanding. I can appreciate, sit down and listen to a 10-minute instrumental and really appreciate it, analyze it, digest it. Not everybody can do that.
Not everybody can do that. It's fantastic noise, but it sounds like noise because it's just over their heads.
Yeah.
You're 100% right.
Yeah. And if you want to appeal to a mass, that is not the thing you play.
Correct.
So
right.
Yeah, totally understand where you're coming from with that. Definitely. Chris, this has been great, man. I appreciate your time. I'm look forward to telling people about what you're doing. Voodoo Messiah, you got more music coming, correct?
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, fantastic.
Already recorded, just set to release. So
pretty great. Yeah. And you might be doing stuff with Zach. We'll keep in touch, and you can tell us what's going on. We'll have you back on, man.
Sounds great, man. I appreciate the opportunity. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely, man. And I'll see you soon.
Sounds good, Scott. Thanks.
All right. Take care, Chris. Thanks for your time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Right.